Welcome to the Silent Thinking Podcast, a space to slow down, breathe, and reconnect. Today I'm reading from Walking the Path, A Leader's Journey by Dr. Keith McNally, a reflective story about the inner journey of leadership. Just listen and let the stillness support you. Episode 6. The story continues. The following day, Liz and Penny sat at the kitchen table eating breakfast. Their mother worked long hours yesterday. They let her sleep. Liz had some work to do and was eager to get to it. Penny would be here to make breakfast for her mother later on. They sat quietly for a while until Penny asked about John. "I believe he's made up his mind," Liz said. "How do you know that?" Penny asked. "My gut," Liz said. "And he's been talking with Jose a lot these past 2 months." "You said he always talks to Jose," Penny added. "Yeah," Liz continued. "But now it's like every other day almost." "What are you doing, spying on him?" Penny asked. "Of course," Liz said. "I love the boy. Stupid as he is, I can't let him just climb up over a mountain and leave me." Liz focused again. "His birthday is around the corner. I think he feels the need to leave soon. He'll probably want to do it around his birthday to spite his parents." "What does his parents have to do with any of this?" Penny asked. "His parents are not the best," they said. "They don't support him with anything." She collected her thoughts again. "But my gut tells me he's getting anxious. He doesn't want to stay here in the valley. He's just not crystal clear on when to leave. But it's soon. I can feel it." "Didn't you stop by Jose's house the other day?" Penny asked. "What did he tell you?" "Jose said he's going to leave," Liz said. "That's it?" Penny asked. "No," Liz said quietly. "He said I should go with him." "So what are you going to do?" Penny asked. Liz sat there in deep thought. "I don't know," Liz said at last. A few days later, John was ending another day's work on the farm. Friday night rolled around again, and despite being exhausted from a long day's work, John could not sleep. His bedroom was the middle of the 3 rooms on the 2nd floor. The bedroom window faced east, which faced the moon on a clear night. This was such a night, and John appreciated the illumination in his room. His window was slightly ajar, letting in a cool night breeze. Laying back, John stared up at the ceiling. The time to leave his family was drawing closer. He felt it, like an air of desperation, teasing his thoughts. Still, he was no closer to choosing a definitive date. On or around his birthday was still the time frame. If he waited too long, the cold winter would settle in. He would be stuck for another 4 months. He didn't want to wait. He couldn't wait. If he waited, he wouldn't chicken out. And that is not what he wanted. He needed to do this. He needed to test his resolve. He needed not to be afraid. He needed to take the risk. And he needed to prove it to himself. John thought more about what Jose's great-grandfather wrote in his journal. After all this time, the many years, he wondered what it must have been like to walk the mountains, to travel up and over the forbidden land, and to come back again, even for only a short while. He wondered about this man's resolve and courage. Most of all, John was thrilled to finally have this man's own testimony. If Jose's words about his great-grandfather were only half as amazing as he thought, then the journal would offer him so much insight and wisdom. Most importantly, John hoped for some insight into the journey. What were the mountains like? What animals did he encounter, if any? Would things be different now that many decades have passed? These thoughts plagued John's mind. Then he thought about Liz, and to some extent her cousin Penny. Although he did not know Penny as a friend, he knew about her through all of Liz's stories. He wondered why she never came out and played with the other kids when they were younger. Maybe he would have the opportunity to ask her one day. From there, his thoughts raced to all the things he should do before leaving. Who should he talk to? What final thing should he resolve before moving forward with his decision? With his thoughts racing from one idea to the next, he thought about Liz again. What was his relationship with Liz? Would it be the right thing to do to ask her to join him, or would it be the best thing to say goodbye? He was not sure, and tonight was not the night to figure that out. For an hour, John tossed and turned. The moon continued to traverse the evening sky. In the distance, he heard the bark of a dog. Then the night air was silent once again. John rose up and sat on the side of his bed. His feet just about touched the floor of his room. He shivered. He saw his blanket lay there like a helpless animal. He thought how nice it was to have a room of his own, a warm blanket to sleep under, and the comforts of home. Then he thought about how he would stay warm in the mountains. How cold did it get, he thought. Too cold to be sure, but just how cold was anyone's guess. Would he be able to keep warm? John did not favor the winter month. In fact, he dreaded the cold. His body seemed to just shut down when he got cold. He didn't like to feel cold. He didn't like to be cold. It even made his lungs hurt. That's why he knew that if he was to go, he was to go soon. There could be no more waiting. Through his thoughts, he heard the subtle whispers of his parents from outside his bedroom door. They were walking down the hall. The creak on the wooden floorboard told him they were just about at the threshold of their own bedroom. What were they doing up so late? Talking business more than likely. With that, John lay back down on his bed. He forced himself to close his eyes. But sleep evaded him this night. Since sleep evaded him, the best thing to do was read. As quiet as a mouse, John tiptoed to the window where the light of the moon shone in. As best he could, he angled the journal so that he could read it. You may be thinking, did the old owl lead all the way across the mountains? The answer is no. Would that have been nice? I'm sure it would have been. Nice and easy would have suited me just fine, given that I was running away from home and family. I needed something easy, and as long as I didn't starve to death, a nice stroll through the mountains would have been great. But the owl only helped me so far. As far as I could tell, the bird got me far enough away where my efforts were not being tracked by anyone from the valley. That was what I needed, even though I did not know I needed it. And this is only the first of many examples of the many adventures I had. Before moving on, I should say that owl experience was the only one of its kind. I was hoping I had a special gift or talent. Maybe I could communicate with birds or animals in a special way. Sadly, no. Thinking back, I probably looked a bit foolish trying to do so. Maybe being on your own causes you to be a bit foolish. I definitely wanted to find out, though. Foolish or not, it was important for me to risk the activity. It gave me courage to try things I might not have had the courage to try otherwise. That was the start of me learning to become comfortable with myself. My whole life growing up in the valley, I thought I had to fit in. I was just a small part of a big system, and that system, the people in the valley, never let you forget your place. Now that I have separated from that, I can clearly see the bonds that hold people to other expectations of them living in the valley. I didn't get it at all. In fact, I, like everyone else, ran from change. We all had to fit in. At least that's what it was like when I lived there. Now I don't look to conform. I'm comfortable being myself. I didn't realize this at first, but allowing myself to change, giving myself permission to be me. Actually, it was the survival instinct I needed to acquire. I say it was an instinct, but it was not at first. I didn't know how to survive. I thought I did. I knew how to build, hunt, fish, and farm, but I only did these things in a controlled environment. I did not to do them to survive until I got out on my own. Learning to survive was important, even though that sounds silly. I had to learn to trust my instincts. I had to learn to listen to my gut or my inner voice. When I felt scared, I had to learn to listen, like animal instincts. I had to become good at it. John closed the journal. These words hit him in the gut like a baseball bat. They hit hard. Juan felt just like he did. At least he seemed to understand what was going on in John's head. The reality was a bit strange because the only person he spoke to was Jose. That was enough for tonight. John needed to get some sleep, but now he had new things to think about. Thank you for sharing this quiet moment with me. If this brought you peace, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, like the video, and share it with someone who might need a little stillness too. Until next time, keep listening inward.